Hello, my friends. This is Alex. Welcome to Socialism Survival Podcast number 42. In this show, I'm talking about healthy America with Johnny Max and the Queen. They are my guests, physically present right here in my studio. They are the hosts of a great self-sufficient homestead show, which you can find at sshomestead.com. Also, you can be their friend at Facebook. Of course, you can find me as Socialism Survivalist at Facebook, and I invite you to check out also my website, socialismsurvival.com. If you have any questions or comments, please write me to podcast@socialismsurvival.com. And the last but not least, please remember to share this podcast, this show, with your family and friends and even strangers. Remember, they are still your fellow Americans, even if they are acting and thinking and believing differently. In this Socialism Survival Self-Sufficient Homestead show, I have special guests, Johnny Max and the Queen, right here in my studio.
Man, it is great to be here, Alex. You have treated us like king and queen.
They sure know how to plan an evening and have an invite and a great sit-down supper. We had authentic Russian dinner tonight, and it was awesome.
Well, thank you for coming. I know you had probably very tired after 4 days in Disney parks.
Oh, man, that's the understatement.
I feel old.
I want to stay another day, but they're all wore out. I have to take them home.
But I know it was special for your daughter, right?
Yes, she graduated, and it was a graduation gift, and we had her invite one of her friends that graduated with her, and that's what we've celebrated. That's why we made the trip. Special gift for her graduation.
Yeah, I brought a friend so I didn't have to ride the runaway train and roller coasters like that.
Well, you guys were walking a lot in these parks, right?
Yes, very much so.
So it is healthy, walking miles after miles. It's healthy way of life, and that's what today's podcast is about. And I know in many of your last shows, you shared with your listeners how you try to live healthy life, and that is something important for my family, as me and my wife, we also for many years trying to use natural and organic and homegrown medical plants and like barley juice, carrot juice, and different smoothie shakes, and just trying to live a healthy life as much as possible. So for me, it was a great thing to hear that you kind of on this path, and I want just us to talk on this and share with our listeners, maybe starting with this Russian dinner that you had in our house. Do you think it was healthy?
Man, it tasted too good to be healthy.
I believe it was a very healthy meal.
It was good. And your wife, she was explaining how everything was made and what was in it. Yeah, it had to be totally healthy. I didn't see anything in there. I didn't see any monosodium glutamate. What's the other stuff? Aspartame? No, didn't have any aspartame in it.
We didn't even use raw sugar. We used honey to sweeten our tea.
Honey instead of processed sugar.
Yeah, we actually didn't have any genetically modified stuff in our food. We are kind of very selective in that.
Now, you talked about us being on a health kick and getting healthy. This is actually new for us. I mean, we would buy anything in packages, eating at Burger King, Whataburger, McDonald's, fast foods, this processed, fast. And what got us on the kick, I guess, is when I found out about the stevia. And I was looking to find out more about this natural sweetener, and every time I looked into it, there were articles saying to stay away from aspartame and
And fructose sugars.
the high fructose corn syrup. And I found out how bad all those things were for you. I didn't realize it. And so now I am happy to say I avoid it at all costs. We have some white sugar in our house that we had before, and it's been there a long time. We don't use it at all.
No, the pepper jelly we made recently, we used was
Turbinado?
it was raw, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was turbinado. I think sugar is what they call it. It was from Hawaii, and it's not processed.
Yeah,
it's not.
pre-processed. It's pre-processed. It's before they would do the white sugar parts.
They don't bleach it. It's natural from the plant.
Years and years ago, even before I came to America, I heard some weird things that people say they have made hamburgers made of oil or something like that. Well, I didn't find some that kind of hamburgers here in America, but what I recently found, and especially after watching Food Inc. movie.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't really shock me, because I understood that something like that is going on with food production. And before watching that movie, I knew that America has a special governmental office that is called FDA, or Food and Drug Administration. And the first time I was really deeply thinking about this combination, you probably couldn't imagine the funny look on my face, because Food and Drug Administration that controls both food production and also medicine, production of different pills and vaccines and all this stuff. And I was thinking, well, now I see the way they produce this food, genetically modified, they approve all these things that negatively affect people's bodies. And then they plan to produce different medicine to heal the damage that this food that they approve is doing for people.
And the fertilizers and the pesticides.
Not to mention what the chemical medicines do to the body also.
Yes.
I think it destroys your liver. Have you ever heard a lot of older people, I'm not trying to categorize them because I'm turning into one slowly, they'll say that they do not want to go to the hospital, or they'll say he was healthy and then he went to the hospital and he died. And it's like an old man never been to the hospital hardly at all in his lives, and go in there and he dies. And I'm just wondering if it's the chemicals that he's already getting out of the food and everything. It's in the water, the fluoride, and then he goes in the hospital and his liver is already kind of shot, and then they pump him up with all of those medicines, and it just shuts down the liver. I don't know. It seems like it overloads your body if it's already taxed as it is with all the chemicals you're taking in.
When we discovered about fluoride, we just bought online, kind of like powder to brush our teeth.
Yeah.
So I'm not using toothpaste anymore, but using powder, a special powder that's more natural, and it cleans teeth better than
dirt.
No.
What is it? Baking soda.
Something similar to baking soda.
It's with baking soda. Yeah.
I use baking soda, but that's tough. But yeah, that's more chemicals, just like your soap. I get all of my soap from the guy that does the Botanicals podcast. He makes soap. I've made soap, but now
actually, my wife she tried actually succeed in making liquid soap, and liquid kind of like detergent.
Yes.
She did laundry with that kind of soap.
Well,
that's pretty good.
Our next project is to make liquid hand soap face soap and body wash soap and shampoo. We've got a book that we're studying up. And you do it the same way you make the lye bar soaps. It's just a different amount and consistency, and it stays liquid. And it's all natural.
So what is difference between lye that current administration using to fool American people and the one you use in the soap?
The one you use in the soap is a heck of a lot more cheaper to the American public, and your grandkids don't have to pay for it.
And it's more honest.
It's cheaper. Your grandkids don't have to keep paying for what you get today. Or something like that.
And it helps to clean people. And I think something like that kind of lye we need to clean
Bank account.
It's also good catfish bait if you put the right ingredients in it.
Oh, you're talking about lye soap. Lard soap.
I'm saying the lye that you use in the soap.
Yeah,
It helps to clean a body, right?
And the administration cleans your bank account.
So we need that kind of lye to replace that other lye to clean their corrupt conscience.
Now, if you end up where you can't buy lye and you want to make soap, talking about, the soap that we use to bathe with, you know how they originally made it? It was ashes. They would take the ashes, and that's what they got the lye from, because that was real, not alkaline. And you would mix that with...
ashes from like burning a fire?
Yes, yeah, it's very, very alkaline. And so you mix it with the fat from whatever, and you mix it and boil it down until you get the right consistency, till you get a neutral pH, and it makes soap.
I got an idea. When this president and his administration, they burn America to the ground, we will have a lot of ashes to make a soap and clean this country of corruption and this FDA that we were talking about and everything.
Well, wait, I don't want to lead everybody wrong. It's not the ashes. You have a big, say a drum of ashes, and you fill it with water, and you let the water wash out, leaving the ash behind, so you have the water. But yeah, you could do that with the ashes from the American country there.
But, of course, we
After
need
a good
water.
rain.
We need the rivers of
Tears.
living water
Ah.
that comes from God. If that water of God's word, will be poured on the ashes, then we will have that good lye. Well, it will be true, of course.
Well,
that sets people free.
Hopefully he will help us not burn to the ground, since I think he had a big hand in building this country and causing it to be.
Apparently, it was supposedly founded on God. This country was. The original founders wrote everything, all our declarations of independence and all those things were, not only were they signed in God we trust and that kind of thing, but a lot of these men in their journals wrote their prayers and prayed before they made these decisions and asked God for his help to make the decisions for the United States.
Yeah, and the Constitution is set up to clearly define that the government does not give the people rights, but that God gives the people their rights, that they're just self-evident, and we have the rights that we have because God has granted them to us. And the Constitution and the laws were trying to keep the government from taking our rights. Basically, it was telling the government things they cannot do, not things that we can do. All of ours are inherited from God.
Years ago, I was reading one interesting book. I don't know if this book exists in English, but the title of this book, if I would translate it to English from Russian, would sound like "Revival Starts with Me," or "From Me," or how I would say. The same when we talk about healthy America, when we talk about living healthy life, and I mean in broad meaning, like physically, like spiritually, and as a country. It starts with us and how we live, what we do. And for me, it is even exciting to have you guys here. My home, for me, it's like introducing a new way of life that we didn't know each other half a year ago. We didn't know about each other's existence. And suddenly I've heard your interview on Survival Podcast. We connected and we've been on each other's show. And then suddenly we found friends in each other.
There are no coincidences. There's divine appointments.
Wait, you said Survival Podcast. I never heard of that. What is that? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to distract.
Did you hear what I said, though?
Yeah.
There are no coincidences. There's divine appointments. God intended for us to meet for whatever reason, and His plan might not be for today for this podcast, or it may be. It may be for years in the future. But God has a plan for your life and our life, and He put us together for a reason.
Yeah, we're kids. We're brothers.
Yeah, and I know that many our listeners and followers and friends on Facebook and Twitter, they will listen to this podcast. And I know and I believe, and that's what I want, that they see in this, even in this occasion, that we just sit here in my home and talk. They will see that not everything lost. Like people can get together. People can find understanding in common ways. Like we are discovering about each other. We independently started looking for some healthy lifestyle, and now it binds even more together.
Yeah, and it's amazing that Queen and I, we were raised in Texas. You were raised in the Ukraine, and we both have the same future. We're both going the same place, whether we would have met here at your house today or not. We're all headed to the same place. Those of us that are saved, I mean, we're written in the book of life, and we have a future, and it's going to go beyond all the stuff that we're going through here and we're worried about here in the United States and in Russia and Ukraine and China and Cuba. That's going to pass away, and I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be like, but we're not going to have to worry, I don't think, about socialism like we do now, and having our rights taken away, and the food that we eat, and the things that we drink I think it's kind of destroying our bodies. I didn't realize that, and that's why on the self-sufficient homestead, we're trying to become self-sufficient. And I think one of the biggest ways to do that is to take care of ourselves, eat good, eat natural, the way things are naturally made. And that's one of the most important things we can do to be self-sufficient. Because if you're spending all your money on health care and in the hospital, and I think fast food, I do like eating fast food and everything, but what was it I was telling Alex? We were at Disney the other day, and I bought one of those Powerade drinks. This has to be healthy. And what was the first ingredient?
Fructose sugar.
High fructose corn sugar. I drank it anyway, but I really shouldn't have.
High fructose corn syrup.
Syrup, that's it.
That's it. But we did eat, while we were at Animal Kingdom, we bought little bowls of fruit and cheese. And that was, you know what, when we ate that, it gave us, when we ate other times, it kind of drug us down, because when your body starts to process what you've eaten, it zaps your energy. Well, the fruit didn't do that. It gave us energy and hydrated us. So.
Oh, it picked us. I was going on that fruit and stuff for a long time. It was grapes and
cantaloupe and honeydew melon.
And cheese and crackers. And man, that picked me up, and I didn't feel bloated. We were cranking after that. Like, man, I feel good.
Well, that's a good part, but when I hear the things you had to go through this high fructose corn syrup, I wish I could bring you home every day you've been here, but unfortunately my work just takes me all around the country, and I don't see my home and I don't see my kids, and I have to carry with me heavy cooler full of home food. Otherwise I have to go and also buy whatever is there in the convenience stores, on gas stations.
Well, I guess maybe I should explain real quick about the high fructose corn syrup. What's so bad? It's not like, is it sucrose? Like when we had the sugar that was in the fruits and the grapes and the cantaloupe and the honeydew melon, it has sucrose. And when sucrose goes into your body, almost every cell in your body can convert that to energy. But the high fructose corn syrup, the only thing that converts that is your liver. And after a while, it becomes overloaded. When it can't process it anymore, it turns it into triglycerides, which are fat, and your body stores as fat. So that's like taking all your energy trying to convert it, where the natural sugar from the natural food, the way it was naturally grown and created, is there for your body to just have energy. And I had recognized it night and day difference between eating junk food and having something that was naturally sweet.
I think even that corn syrup would be different, depends on what kind of corn. Genetically modified corn, or it is organic corn. It's a different things, but the high fructose corn syrup, that's what is bad for.
Well, they take the starch that's from the corn and they use enzymes to convert it into high fructose corn syrup. It's not, I mean, it's a process that can be natural, but in a minimal amount. We're eating so much of it that it's way too much. It's not good.
Yeah, I go in the store and I always now looking on a label. It's just hard to buy something. I just especially when I'm traveling for my work and I'm out of food, I stop by Walmart or whatever, and I take that cart and I go all around the food section, and then the cart is empty, and then I come back to the fruit and vegetables section, which is in the beginning, where I should start and finish right away.
Yeah, we're on vacation and it's hard. We've got stuff in packages. As a rule, if I can eat and not take it out of a package, I'm doing okay. Like you said, fruits. And the Queen made...
But we couldn't very well do sandwiches that way. We did bring lettuce, tomatoes, and onions and slice that up ourselves, but the lunch meat and stuff was packaged, so...
Yeah, I don't think it had high fructose corn syrup. Probably had antibiotics and no telling what else.
Well, unfortunately, guys, you could not take your self-sufficient homestead with you.
I'm missing my cat, my emus, my rabbits, my chickens, my quail.
Really,
And a dog.
no fresh eggs this week.
We should have a few when we get back. My garden, too. Daughter's been harvesting it for us. Daughter number 1. She stayed behind.
And daughter number 2, of course, here with you.
Yes.
And she is right in this house too, watching a movie with her friend. And we try to keep them quiet so they don't put their voices in the show.
I don't think we could have got them to.
So, few things that we would be able to outline talking to American people about a healthy lifestyle and healthy revival of America that starts with us. We would say growing our own food. That's what I hear a lot at Survival Podcast, and of course your podcast, and I'm trying to talk about growing own food, which we control how healthy. We don't ask FDA to come in our homestead and control what pesticides or herbicide. Right? You never invited FDA to your homestead, no?
No, they probably would like to come see. They might learn a few things.
But it's important that we grow it organically or use a pesticide that is organic, because, like, for instance, some bugs you can dust with red pepper.
And if you grow for yourself,
and
you don't need
natural.
you don't need to put label that it is organic, right?
Right.
You don't need to buy.
Because we know.
You don't need to pay a lot of money to buy the organic label.
And not to mention, if you purchase it in the grocery store, it's more expensive to buy organic. But it's not any more expensive to grow it in your garden. It really isn't. You still water it. You still, use the same kind of soil. There's nothing that you do different. So I don't know why they charge extra for organic in the store.
It's a lot. I think it's a little more labor intensive to keep the bugs off. It's a preventative, and they have to keep everything away too.
I know why they charge more. Because that organic apple has a little worm inside. Because it didn't use chemicals to kill that little worm, so they charge for that little worm.
Hey, is that organic that they stick on there? I wonder.
Yeah, they put sticker on the hole,
Yeah.
so it looked pretty.
But we're excited about all the things we're trying to do, and our fish too. My tilapia, and they're in a barrel. They're doing good. I did not set up my large tanks because, like I was telling Alex, and Alex knows that listening to the show, they know we bought some property and we're trying to move. So hopefully next year we can get everything going big scale. The first year of our self-sufficient homestead was trying all this stuff out, having feedback from listeners, and trying to decide exactly what we want to implement on our self-sufficient homestead. And we've learned a lot, and we've learned a lot from everybody, and a lot of, some things we don't want to do. But as a rule, I mean, like this year we planted, 35 different types of vegetables in our garden to see what grows good in our area and what we like. And I planted 7 different types of okra, and it'll be about 3 that have earned a place in my garden for next year. And tomatoes, different tomatoes.
Probably a lot of listeners and people followed the emu story, how they are doing there.
Well, the queen's holding her hand up. They're about chest high. If they stand up, they're probably a good chest high. They're doing good. I think they're chickens. They live with our chickens. We got a big chicken run behind our property, and they just run around. They're still skittish from where they were. So they didn't want to come around me. They got skittish after being out for a while. So I didn't feed them for a whole day.
So they're living healthy style there in your backyard?
Yes, they forage, but we throw scratch out there to them, chicken feed and turkey feed. But like I said, I didn't feed them for one whole day, and they got hungry. So then I fed them, and they came up to me and ate, and they got over being rude.
Do these emus that you have lay eggs?
They lay eggs, but it takes about 2 years before they start laying. And they lay based on the length of the day. And so them being native to Australia, when the day length is right here for them to lay, it's like January and February, the coldest part of winter. Oh. That's why when I ordered, if you want to buy emu eggs like I did, in January, go on eBay and do a search for fertile emu eggs, and you'll get them for about $8 to $12 each. And the people, they're from emu farms, and then put them in your incubator, which actually works out good. You're going to keep them in your house anyway when they're little. And about the time it starts warming up, it's spring, they're big enough to go outside. At least that was the case here. But I think that would be hard on them in the wild here. I don't know that they would live in a hard winter, being little baby emus. Big baby emus. They were huge.
So probably it's not a good idea to grow them for eggs, but as a source of meat should be probably good, right?
Well, they get to be 5.5 feet tall. They weigh 150 pounds, run 35 miles an hour, and out of that 150 pounds, a little bit more than half of it is meat. You can also get, 9 liters of oil from their fat, emu oil, which is very expensive and very beneficial for a lot of things. I guess I could get me some emu skin boots made out of it. I've got quite a few people want some of the feathers who go fishing, but I don't see anything special about their feathers.
Fishermen want the feathers?
Yeah, for trout fishing, they tie their own, and they just want to have something different when they go up there and they go fishing for rainbow trout. They can, what'd you catch it on? These emu feather flies I made, and they can, dang, I can't make one of those. Yep, you can't. I got a friend I work with got emus.
Another thing I was thinking concerning healthy America and what we have to introduce people more and more and talk about bee products. And I know you have beehives now.
One beehive.
Okay.
I'm about ready to split it, I think. I'm just not sure about, I'm learning.
When I grew up in the Ukraine, my grandfather in a village, we lived in the city, but we were coming often to visit grandparents. And my grandfather, he had 4 beehives. And he was very good beekeeper. And since little boy, I was watching the way he was working with bees. Of course, where I live now, it's impossible for me to have bees now. But as soon as we would be able to move to homestead, I'm right away on bees. I didn't deal with bees myself, but back in the Ukraine, I was like distributor of bee product, and I discovered variety and different things that bees produce can be used as a food, as a source of energy, and as a medicine. Like honey, it's a food and it's medicine. There is propolis, it's like a tar that bees produce to protect from bad bacteria, environment, and it's like natural antibiotic, and it's good for health of human being. When you ingest it, it kills only bad bacteria. It doesn't kill good bacteria in your body. And bee pollen and royal jelly. It's also amazing products, and people actually know so little about it. But because I was a distributor of this bee products, I studied it kind of in depth, and I think bee itself is such amazing God's creation.
I'm fascinated. Like I said, we have one beehive, and I'm about ready to split it. I'm not sure if I'm going to split it or pull honey off of it, but my base hive, my hive body is full. I mean, they've already filled it up. I've only had them a few months. They're doing so good, and I'm not sure if I'm allergic to bees. I hadn't gotten stung yet.
Do you have a net for your
Yeah,
head?
well, the last time I went over there, I had a red shirt on. I walked over there and opened it up, checked it out. I was wearing a Hawaiian shirt and had shorts on and flip-flops, and still haven't been stung.
He doesn't normally do that. Normally he has socks and shoes and, covers his arms and everything. But
Well, I needed to check them, and they're on our new property. So I went over there and I just checked them out, and they were just flying all around me, and they didn't attack me, they didn't bite me or nothing. You're not supposed to have colors that like resemble animals, dark colors. And
Do you have smoke blower?
I didn't even do the
But he
smoker.
didn't have
I left it in the truck, didn't even light it. I figured I'd find out if I'm allergic to them. I keep, what is it?
liquid Benadryl's in the console of the truck in case something stings him and his throat swells up.
Yeah, I mean, I was stung when I was a kid, but I'm just assuming it was a honeybee.
I guess we need to find out what a natural Benadryl is.
Yeah.
Well, interesting about bees. When I was a child, they liked to land on my hair, and then sting me right in the head.
Natural beekeeper you are.
That's why I'm so smart, they sting my head so much.
So now you're going to get some bees and see if you outgrew that, right?
You know what? Recently, I discovered that back in Russia, in Siberia, they have such huge forests, and on the trees there are wild bees, and they of course produce very special wild honey. What Russian people learn to care about this wild beehive and to get honey from there and other bee products, and it's just amazing quality. And no matter how good you care of bees on your land, but that is just special bee products, and I'm just looking forward to learn, and maybe would be some kind of breakthrough if we would have something like that in America, because America also has forests, and some wild environment for wild bees.
Yeah, the different honeys are based on the different nectars and pollens that the bees have available. In southeast Texas, primary honey there is a darker golden brown color, and it's from tallow trees. And I brought you some seeds, and then as you saw the crimson clover seeds I gave you, I've got pounds of that, and that's what I'm going to try and do, get big areas of my property cleared out and get the crimson clover, which is pretty much invasive. It will take over, but they grow up to be about 1 foot to 18 inches tall, and the whole front of our property I hope to have covered with crimson clover, which when it blooms will be just scarlet red, and have my bee colonies in the middle of that, so I can empty out all my frames in the top right before that comes in, and when my blooms come in for my crimson clover, then they'll start filling up with crimson clover honey, and that's what I want, some crimson clover honey. I guess I could have different things we plant and just put in frames whenever different things come into bloom, and then decide what makes the honey that we like and we prefer. I'm guessing we'll hopefully get big enough that we're selling our honey I mean, that's not the main intention. We're doing it for us, but if we have excess, then maybe we can share it with other people.
How you plan to extract the honey? You have a manual centrifuge
I've got
or
plans.
electric?
I have plans for one. I have plans. There's quite a few websites out there that tell you plans on how to build anything and everything yourself for beekeeping. How to get honey.
As I said, years ago when I watched my grandfather, he had it was like stainless steel
Yes.
barrel, and it was like centrifuge.
Yes.
He had some middle part where you put frames,
Yes.
and then he would manually turn that, and the honey was just get on the walls,
Slinging out and then run down.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna hook it up to an exercycle and put the queen on it, and
Hey, wait a minute.
tell her, "All right, baby, faster, 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 faster." Zzz.
I'm too tired to do that. I've been to Disney World.
That was hey, the Disney was part of the training.
Not funny.
Anyway, she's kidding. She'll do it.
Yeah, so that would be probably take a lot of time to explain all these bee products, but I would just encourage our listeners to research and to look on internet, Google search these kind of products like propolis and bee pollen and royal jelly. They all have amazing qualities. And I know Russian private small business in Oregon, in Portland, Oregon, they actually work with all these bee products and they mix them in right proportions with like mixing honey and pollen or honey and propolis or honey and royal jelly. It can be separate, but it can be also mixed with honey. And like if you take, for example, if you ingest royal jelly, it has such a wonderful effect on energy and your skin become kind of like younger and smooth, and actually improves intimacy too.
Oh, what is that again?
That was royal jelly, as in the queen.
Yep, it turned you into the queen. She was raised on royal jelly.
Yeah.
Isn't that right? Whenever the bees feed royal jelly to a larva, a queen comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm pretty sure I heard this before. If you eat honey or different bee products from a certain area, and if you've had allergies to the pollen in that area, it's supposed to build up an immunity
Yeah.
against
Yeah.
those things, so it can help with your allergies if you eat the honey from your area.
Yeah, I heard that it's recommended to eat honey
Well,
in the area you.
along
you
those
live.
lines, when we get enough hives, I was thinking about when there's a bad pollen or something in the air, hay fever, and the queen's suffering from it, go pull one of the smaller frames out of the hive, pull the honey off of that for ourselves, and label it, the date and the time and whatever pollen is in the air, and then you would have it not just for that year, but you might be able to take it and eat it and put it in your tea or whatever the following year, right before all the allergy stuff that causes the queen to have allergies. I'm not sure. I don't know if there's been too much research on that, but I've heard it. I don't know if it's a fact, but I've heard it from so many different people that it's good for your allergies. So I thought if I was to label the time of year and the pollen and everything that's in the air on my jar for our personal use, then we can just start using it through the seasons ahead of whatever's coming. I mean, that was just a thought. I don't know if anybody's ever done that or even thought along those lines, but I know that in southeast Texas, the things that blow through as they bloom different times of the year, it's different pollens that are in the air, and it does affect the queen's allergies pretty bad, and my daughter too.
One other important thing me and my wife is discovered in recent years is keeping pH balance. In human number of pH is 7. Some little bit lower or higher is okay, maybe like half, like 6.5 to 7.5 maybe. But if it's too low, it's acidic and it's very bad because it's good environment for growing cancer.
Now, how do you test your body's pH? So you mentioned this over dinner. I'd never actually thought about it. It makes sense because my garden was dying because the pH of my water was off.
I have special strips that you put saliva on that strip.
Is
And
it a regular pH strip or is it a special?
it is special
For body.
for human body, for
Okay.
human
I
elements.
have to try that, see what my pH is.
Yeah, I can show it to you. And
You just lick it, right?
no,
No?
you kind of like
Hawk? What?
in the morning you extract some saliva, you discard it, and then maybe third time when it's clear, you put it on the strip, and it shows pretty good.
Color. It changes color.
Yeah,
like
it changes color. Like I took measured saliva from my kids, and it's perfect 7. You see, kids, their body running like God created perfect, but we lived through many years of this earthly life, and
Yeah.
ate so much different junk,
And Coke, isn't Coke got some type of acid in it? Wouldn't that change your pH if you drank Coke all day long?
Well, if you are dropped in Coke concentrate, you are dissolved. You know that.
No.
It does it to bacon, raw bacon. It eats up raw bacon. We did school science projects on that before.
Yeah, if you can find a Coke concentrate, and whatever you drop there, and you try to get there after maybe a week or month, you won't find it there.
Is it acid or caustic? It's one or the other. If it's got to do that. It's not a neutral pH though. If it does that, it's
Yeah, we don't drink sodas because it's not good. Well,
oh, we used to. The Queen used to go through a 2-liter Coke a day at least.
Used to.
Yeah, we learned that bad. No, we were right down there with Jack Spirko eating stuff right out of packages and everything.
well,
Don't hit me. The Queen hit me.
I didn't hit you. I tapped you.
well. Look how those things were introduced to American people, destroying and lowering health level of America. Somebody created a business. Then I found that in this country, people are really dependent a lot. Not everyone, but many people depend on what media says, on whatever they have seen in advertisement. And if it drops on their brains over and over, Coke, 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 Pepsi, 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 Pepsi. When they sit by the TV, people are concentrated. They're really ingesting the information.
Yeah.
But when they are on daily life, when they are on the run, they most of the time they even don't have time to think if they doing good choice or bad choice, and they just automatically respond to that information that they heard before that just kicks in. Oh, Coke! They just grab and drink it. They see that hamburger or whatever. They just, without back thought, they just have that.
I don't think that, like, say, Frito-Lay, Coca-Cola, all these big companies, I don't think that they are intentionally trying to reduce our health. They're just a capitalistic company who is trying to produce food that they can sell at the most economical way. And I've tried to figure out, so who is doing it? They can buy high fructose corn syrup cheaper than sugar, which costs a whole lot more money to produce. And how can they buy it cheaper? The ones that produce the high fructose corn syrup and the corn farmers, the government subsidizes it. So the government backs it up, and they make it cheaper for this sugar that's not as good. So all the manufacturers, they're going to have to buy what costs them the least to compete. So it's not like it's the manufacturers trying to be unhealthy, I don't think. I think it's the government causing that to be a cheaper source of sweetener.
Tell me, how long for example, this Coke exists in America? 100 years?
Not quite.
It was the early 1900s.
Okay, about 100 years. But it
Okay.
wasn't made with high fructose corn
So-
syrup.
so-
It was actually a medicine, wasn't it? A cough medicine?
Mm-hmm. It originated in a pharmacy.
A pharmacist made it as a cough medicine to coat your throat. Or was that Dr. Pepper?
I don't know which one was first.
I'm confused.
So 50 or 80 or 100 years, it was a completely different drink. maybe resemble the taste, but otherwise many ingredients changed.
But they had a goal to have Americans drinking Coke like it was water instead of water. And, that was the capitalistic. They just want to make money,
And never cough.
Yeah, well, they wanted to make money. They just wanted it to be such a popular drink that people drank it instead of water. And that was before Diet Coke with aspartame. Man, I think we did a show. And
They changed the formula of Coke, regular Coke also. So I'm not sure exactly what all they took out of it. But
Hey, tell me another thing. I have a question on the way. When we lived in Soviet Union, we didn't have Coca-Cola, but we could buy Pepsi-Cola. There, right in Soviet socialist country, we had Pepsi-Cola, but we didn't have Coca-Cola. Was Pepsi company run by American socialists?
Not yet. No, I think it was capitalist. Everything here in the United States is to make money.
Look,
But you're talking about getting into there. I don't know what it takes to get into the Russian market.
Johnny Max, listen. You say it was here everything capitalist, but suddenly we wake up and we have socialist president and we have socialist Congress. So
they're working on socialism medicine.
It's
how you say-
progressive. They're progressive.
how you say it was everything capitalist? Maybe they just used capitalism, but secretly in their hearts they were following that Marxism teachings.
I think on the company level, it's still about being bigger than your competitor and profit. And they get sometimes so big that becomes their only goal, and it's not whether they're good or bad. It's just to crush the others. Beer companies, for example, they'll do anything to be bigger than the other one, like Budweiser, and crush them. And if they have a company that they can buy, they'll buy it and close it down. So it's not that it's just a competitive thing. But when it comes to like socialism, that's the government. That's almost in the United States. It's always been behind the scenes. It just not has been so much out in the open as it is now, which it is. It's out in the open, and they're progressives, and they're not ashamed that they're progressives, and they think that the Constitution is a dated document that was written for those 200 years ago, and we shouldn't go by it now. They're just not as bold in saying that, but some of them are, and that's truly what they believe, and that's not what America was founded on at all. I mean, it was based on the people and equal and rights, and not the government controlling us. Did I get off on the subject a little bit too much, or?
But I was wondering how it happened in America that so-called capitalists, those businesses that make money, these businesses created to make profit, they put millions of dollars into the election of socialist government.
Like I said, they want so bad to be the big boy in their market that they will buy government officials to make the laws and control things to keep the others down, which is not capitalistic. So that they're plugged into the government's plugged into them, and then they get bigger and bigger until they're, like Monsanto or big companies like that. Was it another one I think of? I still don't know if this is true or not, but like the American Cancer Society, they're plugged into the government. They have so much control. The FDA, but we're talking about the companies. They have power through the government, not buying power of having people buy their product only, which is what capitalism is based on. It's not the government, it's the people wanting to buy their product because it's better than anybody else's. If they don't want to buy it, they quit buying it and the company goes out of business.
Look, let's stop a little bit at the cancer. In last podcast I mentioned that my brother, 33-year-old, died of cancer in California, and that's how I was able to get in America. For many years I was in America before I was coming as a minister, but then they stopped allowing me here, and only when my brother died of cancer, being 33-year-old, American embassy finally gave me visa and I came here. And then because I was prosecuted and had some tails following me, trying to, intimidate me over there. So I came here, and after the funeral, I applied for asylum, and I was able to stay legally in this country. I didn't plan to marry, but I found a Russian girl,
Ah,
and she happened to be U.S. citizen. So we just changed the case from asylum to family relation, and I got my green card, begin to establish my life in this country. And I'm glad that I was legally in this country. This is healthy way to
yeah.
come into America and become part of this society. But when I was looking in what happened to my brother with his cancer, he had like lump in his groin area, and it didn't disturb him. It was just growing, but it didn't cause him pain. He was like a normal boy, He just married. He had couple-month-old son, and he didn't go to doctor because he didn't have insurance. Finally, he got insurance. He went to doctor, and doctor didn't send him to make any tests or biopsy, to find out what is stuff there.
Yeah.
And that doctor just prescribes him antibiotics, and these antibiotics have reverse effect. That cancer that was in that lump, in that lump, it began to spread melanoma. In 1 month, it killed him. I saw brother's picture in February on his friend's birthday, looking healthy, looking normal, looking happy. Next month, he's dead.
Like I said, someone lived, never go to the doctor, never go to the doctor. And there's a lot of cases they finally go to the doctor or the hospital and they never come home. Sometimes they hit it right, but a lot of times they hit it wrong. And it seems like it's a stab in the dark sometimes, at least in this case, huh? He should have had it tested before he tried to treat it because he didn't know what it was.
Yeah. I remember listening to one of your shows. You said something about Dr. What's his name? Gershon?
Yes, Max Gerson.
And he's doing something about cancer, right?
Right, and that's really what got me on the health bandwagon. I was taking on a lazy Sunday at home, and it was in the evening, and I had the animals fed, didn't want to really do anything, just kind of like relax, which I like to do. And we were on Netflix, and I was just queuing up a bunch of documentaries. And one of them was called The Beautiful Truth. And that was, I didn't know what it was about. And it was about Max Gerson and his cancer therapy and how he was poisoned and killed. He appeared in front of Congress and everything. And he had a natural cure for cancer, and it was healthy living, basically, all the chemicals and pesticides and stuff to avoid it. And they actually banned, after he spoke in front of Congress, they actually banned his therapy, and they had the Max Gerson cancer therapy bill something, and they just shelved it. And the United States is the only country that it's against the law, and it's just it shouldn't be against the law. It's just based on a healthy diet, and it's pretty intense healthy diet with juices and things like that, which can cause your body to get healthy and actually break the cancer down itself and take it out in the bloodstream and out through your liver and then out of your body. And you can do it in Mexico, London, France, Japan, China, just not here. And it's like you were talking, and you and I were both talking about here just a second ago, about how companies, in this case medical, get plugged into the government and they control things and shut certain things down, which is not what capitalism is supposed to be. It's not using the government. It's just based on buy and sell. You have a good product, people buy it. And medicine and healthcare is a product. It's actually it's a product. And you have a good product, people go to you. And the only way they could stop this from taking over the cure for cancer was to make it against the law, and it's against the law, and it's nothing it's not medicine. I don't know how they could even make it against the law. They do it in the United States, but they don't call it the Gerson therapy. They call it something else, different place.
You see, with the introduction of this universal health care and the president signed it, I don't know what will happen later to that, but it's not doing anything good. because I know what will happen if should this law take full power. They will just force all this kind of medicine, whatever they make a standard. You know, like in Soviet Union, it was standard procedures. Everything should be standardized,
Yeah.
And on every standard procedure there was a price tag. Let's say that. So doctors were paid something for this, something for that. I know that nothing good coming with that. And saying about cancer treatment, I also heard a lot about that. Actually, these drug companies, they pay a lot of money to keep away any real cures that are discovered from cancer. Because if natural medicine or natural cure is found, they cannot make money on that because they cannot patent something that comes from from nature, and they will just lose profits if people just healed naturally.
Well, if any of your listeners want to see that, you can go to Amazon.com or you can go to Netflix, and the two documentaries, one is The Beautiful Truth and the other one is The Gerson Miracle. And it you can ask my wife, the queen here. I used to always say this was my plan. All the men in my family, die in their mid-60s. So I'm planning to, get her set up so that when I die at 65 years old or whatever, that she can go on. Now, I'll probably bury her, and then I will die 5.
That is not nice.
Well, no, I didn't mean it that way, did I? No, I mean I don't plan on dying. I plan on living a lot longer. And
what are you, bicentennial man or something?
No, but I seriously feel now that it's in my control, and I understand that a lot of people die because their body's just totally being destroyed, and it's just being overtaxed, and your organs can't keep up with what's being put into them. And I'm planning on going, not crazy healthy, but just healthy.
Johnny Max, it is a good thing, and I would summarize it in this way. My desire for myself, for my family, and for you, as my friends, and for our listeners, that we be in control of our lives and we take care of healthy living, because it matters who outlive whom. Will we outlive American socialism, or it will kill us? If we live healthy lifestyle, we will see the death of socialism here in America in restoration, like in Soviet Union. Who would predict that something like that happens? Soviet Union will collapse and all republics will split. Nobody could imagine that, but that happened. So whatever this American socialists with this president and this Congress, whatever they planning, they doing, it will not survive. God will help us to destroy it, to break it, if we will be stronger, if we will not be dependent like that sheeples, that are led by socialist shepherds, that we depend on God, follow His word, and follow the way of life that He created, that He put us in. Like you have a self-sufficient homestead, and it is my desire to get in on that way too. I see the future of America and America's healthy survival in that way of life, and I'm so happy that God put us together, to find the ways how we can live and how we can deliver that message to American people. So more and more people would take that message and implement it.
Be more self-sufficient and not rely on the government less. And if they take over health care and you're healthy, they don't have any control over you if you're healthy. And if they have health care and you're unhealthy, they actually have control over you and food and everything. So like you said, to be self-sufficient as a people, if the United States, all of the people become more self-sufficient and less dependent on the government loses its power over us.
Well, I know, guys, you, after 4 days of surfing parks, you're pretty tired, but that was so great to have you as my guests.
Well, thank you for having us.
And not only guests of this show, of course, but there's something in Russian and Ukrainian people. We love guests. We love to have people in our house. We like to find new friends.
Yeah, we had a great time. You made us feel right at home. I mean, we feel at home here with you and your family, Alex.
We had the host and the hostess with the mostest.
Yeah, y'all did so wonderful on the meal. I've had authentic Russian dinner, and it was great, and everything explained to us and healthy. And we're gonna be cooking some of these things too.
And we felt very welcome here and very almost like family, I guess you could say. So thank you so much for your hospitality.
Yeah, on the show too.
Well, we are family, and I thank God for that. And going back 1 year ago, thank Jack for inviting you on his show, so I could hear you talking that. I'm thinking, what is the guys talking about? I have to pay attention. And then we found a way to each other. Well, thank you for surviving one more day of this interesting historical time, maybe somewhat dangerous, but with God, it's a good day that we lived today. And thank you again for coming on the show. And I just wish you blessing and prosperity.
And this is the Queen signing out. Live wise today and
Live well tomorrow. Hey, that's not how we sign off. Till next time.
till next time,
Be wise.
be sweet
And
be self-sufficient.
self-sufficient.